foster mother or parents? I just see Ms. Lowry. Are you there by yourself? Okay, that's fine. The guardian ad litem attorney for the child. Ms. Schrock is here. Ms. Crane is here, who represents the father, Isaiah Murray, I'm sorry. Ms. Brownlee is the case manager. Her supervisor, Ms. Long, is here. Her supervisor, Ms. Ishmael, is here. And Ms. Evans Battle, who represents the mother, Tatiana Brown, is not here, but her lawyer is. And Mr. Skowronek is not here, but I just spotted him in my waiting room. So I wanted to give him a grand introduction. 5 minutes late. I'm sorry.
I hit the wrong button.
Now that's a new one. And all the time we've been using Zoom, nobody has said they hit the wrong button.
No.
They said they didn't get the link. Or they lost the link. So now everybody has another excuse that they can use that they hit the wrong button. What did you hit? Delete?
No, I meant to, instead of, I hit the leave button for some reason. I don't know why. I was doing something.
Well,
is the mom here?
No, she's not.
I just got off the phone with her and she was logging in, so I don't know.
And Ms. Brownlee, what about Ms. Taylor?
Ms. who?
Ms. Taylor was the lady that we had asked to be on the Zoom. She was going to be here last week, but what about this week, Jasmine?
I have not heard from her since I returned to work today. I'm not sure if she's joining or not, but I did forward her the link, and I think my admin also did send it to her while I was out.
Can somebody if you've got a phone number for her, give her a call and see if she's going to join?
There was a lot of gnashing of teeth trying to get this scheduled, and now we have people not here.
I blame Miss Battle.
Here's Zavi Banga. Anybody know who that is?
That's the dad.
Okay. What is that name, though? Did he change names?
I think that's his music name, sir.
Yeah.
Are you Mr. Murray?
I just spoke to Miss Taylor. She's at work and said that she cannot attend today.
Oh, good morning.
Are you Mr. Murray?
Yes, sir.
What is the name? Oh, you just changed it. There was a different name on there and I didn't recognize it.
Yes. I got to do that every time. I don't know why it's like that.
And then Mr. Lowry, the other foster parent, has joined us. Well, are you still wanting to proceed if you don't have your witness, Mr. Skowronek?
Yes.
Okay.
She's indicating the link is not letting her on.
Well, she hasn't appeared in my waiting room since we've been talking. Maybe she doesn't have the right link. I don't know whether they had to do a new one when we can change the date. All right, Mr. Skowronek, you may proceed on your motion.
Okay. So Ms. Brownlee, where are you employed?
Henry County DFACS,
What do you do for the department?
foster care case manager.
Are you currently the case manager for Christian?
Yes.
And how long have you been the case manager for that child?
Since the case has been open.
Now, are you aware that there was previously an order from this court at the permanency review that was conducted on March 20th of 2023 about the mother allowing contact between the child and her boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay. And was it your understanding that the mother was prohibited from allowing the boyfriend or her boyfriend to have any contact in that order with the child?
Correct.
And what was the mother's boyfriend's name back in March of 2023?
I've only been provided with his first name is Terry. I do not know his last name.
Okay. And what was the reason that the department had asked at that hearing for there to be no contact between the child and Terry?
Because at that time, the department had been unsuccessful in getting Mr. Terry to complete screens. We asked that he had complete a background and also a drug screen.
Okay. And back in March or before March, had you actually met Terry or had you had any contact with him?
No, I haven't met him face to face. I did speak to him via phone.
Okay.
When Ms. Brown had the stint when she was incarcerated, I believe she was incarcerated back in like December, January. I might be wrong. I can't remember the actual date, but I did speak to him because he reached out to ask me to do it. I can't remember. He called my phone. I had contact with him. As far as face-to-face contact, I did not make contact with him back in March.
Okay. Now, recently here in September of this year, were you notified by someone that the mother had been evicted from her previous residence?
Right. So Ms. Brown actually reached out herself and told me that she was moving or being evicted from her apartment.
Okay, so Ms. Brown being the mother?
Yes, Ms. Tatiana Brown.
And the information I had was that she was being evicted from her former residence. Is not accurate?
That is accurate. She informed me that they had put documents on her door stating that she would be being evicted. So before they actually came to evict her, she chose to move out so that her stuff would be thrown out on the street.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I want to make sure before I ask you some further questions. There was a request by Ms. Brown, I think, for us to not disclose her address to, I think she had some concerns about her relationship with Mr. Murray. Is that accurate?
Yes, I believe, yes.
Okay. So without giving the specific street address, where was she residing prior to September of 2000? And I'm talking about the mother. Where was she residing prior to September of 2023?
An apartment in McDonough, Georgia.
In McDonough?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was that in her name? Was she subleasing it from somebody? What's the deal?
No, it was actually in Miss Tatiana Brown's name. The lease
Okay.
and everything was in her name.
And you said that in September, the mother contacted you about being evicted from the home. Did she ever give you an explanation as to why she was being evicted?
She did tell me that she had fell behind on her rent, but she was actually in the process of getting assistance through different programs to try to help catch her up on her rent. But I don't believe that the apartment complex was waiting for her to get caught up, so they decided to file the eviction notice.
I'm letting the mother, she just showed up in the waiting room. I'm letting her in. All right. When we saw you in the waiting room the first time, we waited for you, and now you're here, Ms. Brown. So we'll start back up. Ms. Your case manager. Well, where did she go? Oh, there she is. Ms. Brownlee moved across the screen. Ms. Brownlee was testifying. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. So Ms. Brownlee, so Ms. Brown, the mother, advised you again in September that she was being evicted. What did she tell you, if anything, in September about where she was going to go and live?
She texted me and stated that she moved and found an apartment. I'm reading the actual text message that I received from Ms. Brown, or you just want me to?
Just tell me, just
Okay.
testify about what your recollection is about what she told you.
Okay, she just texted me and told me that she found an apartment, and then she sent me the address, and she told me that rent is way cheaper and more affordable for her and closer to her job.
Okay. Hey, when was that text?
That text was sent to me on Saturday, September 23 at 4:24 p.m.
Did you say the 25th?
The 23rd, September 23rd.
Okay. All right. So then did you contact Ms. Brown about making a walkthrough or check of that residence?
Yes, sir, I did. I made my official first walkthrough of that home on Monday, October the 2nd. I arrived at that apartment. No, I'm sorry. It was Tuesday, October 3rd. And I got there at approximately 12:30 and I did my walkthrough on that day.
Okay. And again, without giving a specific address, where is that apartment located?
That apartment is located in Stockbridge, Georgia.
Okay. Now, when you did the walkthrough, did Ms. Brown accompany you during that time?
She did.
All right. And did she advise you as to whether or not there was anyone else residing in that apartment with her at that time?
Not at that time.
All right. All right. After what happened then after October 3rd of 2023?
I was emailed on October 17th by the intake, the Georgia intake, but it's like when somebody calls in a report or anything like that, we get emails from the intake. That email stated that Ms. Jasmine Taylor had reached out and asked that she speak to the case manager for Christian Brown and that she wanted to inform the caseworker that Ms. Brown is living in her home against her will. And they had Ms. Taylor's contact information in the email. And I proceeded to reach out to Ms. Jasmine Taylor that day on October 17th.
Let's go back before we continue on that. When you did the walkthrough on October 3rd, did you request from Ms. Brown any sort of documentation showing that she had a lease or something that allowed her to live on those premises?
I did. I made it very clear that day that we would need some type of documentation, even if she could not provide a lease, that I would need a notarized letter stating that whoever apartment that she was living in, that she could stay there. We had a lengthy discussion and we both agreed, and she said she would get it done.
What did she tell you on October 3rd or even before that about what her living arrangements were? Was that, was she renting the apartment? Was she subleasing it from somebody? Was it an Airbnb? I mean, what was the arrangement to your understanding from Ms. Brown?
From my understanding, it was like a subleasing thing. She told me she was paying rent. But it was Terry's other friend or whatever she is apartment, but that she was allowing her to stay there, but she would be paying rent. So it was and I told Ms. Brown to make sure she provided or kept proof of her. So, if anything was to come up, that she would have proof of her paying rent in the apartment.
Did you, before again, I'm talking about the time frame between September 25th and October 3rd, where she said this was Terry's friend that she was going to be living in the apartment. Did you ever ask Ms. Brown directly as to whether or not Terry was residing in that residence with her at that time?
Yes, we had a discussion. She informed me that Terry at that time had his own apartment, but she did tell me that he would come there while she worked to keep their child.
Okay. And that's the youngest child of Ms. Brown, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So she told you that Terry would come and basically babysit that child?
Correct.
At the apartment?
Right, when she went to work. Because she works the overnight. It's like a pretty late shift.
Okay. And you said when Ms. Brown told you that Terry had his own apartment, did she ever identify where that apartment was?
No, sir, she did not.
Okay. Then subsequent to this Georgia intake call that you said you got, and did you receive information that contradicted what Ms. Brown had told you about who was living in that apartment?
No, I did not.
Okay. You did not get any information from Ms. Taylor that contradicted Ms. Brown's statement that she was living in the apartment and Terry was not living there?
The only information I got was on 10/17 once I got the email from Ms. Taylor. Before that day, I did not get any information from anybody stating that Terry was living there or not living there.
So that's what I was asking. So at some point in time, you did get information from Ms. Taylor. Okay.
Right.
What did Ms. Taylor report to you, and when did you first communicate with her?
I first communicated with Ms. Jasmine Taylor on 10/17 after I received that email from the state asking me to reach out to her. I called the number that was listed in the email, and Ms. Taylor did answer. On that day, Ms. Taylor explained to me that she wanted to speak to me to inform me that she did not allow Ms. Brown to move into her apartment, that was done against her will, and she had no doing of that, and that Ms. Brown needs to find her somewhere to go because she's about to put her out. So I asked Ms. Taylor at that time, could she meet me at the residence that I was informed of where Ms. Brown was living. She agreed. I went and met everybody at the apartment that day. I spoke to Ms. Brown and Ms. Taylor as well on that day. And Ms. Taylor made it clear to me that she did not want Ms. Brown living there. But she did agree to let Ms. Brown stay there until the end of that week. If we could assist Ms. Brown in finding her somewhere to stay, that she would not tell Ms. Brown she had to move out of her apartment on that day.
So when was this meeting with Ms. Brown and Ms. Taylor and yourself at the apartment?
On October 17th, roughly I would say it was around 1
So
p.m.
the same day you got that,
Yes,
that from Georgia intake?
yes.
Okay, I think, wait, let me look at my notes. So the week of the 17th, Ms. Brown was advised by Ms. Taylor that she had till the end of the week to get out.
Correct.
Did that happen to your knowledge?
That did not happen. From my understanding, Ms. Brown is still living in the same apartment.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
No, that did not happen. From my understanding, she is still residing in the same apartment.
Okay. Since October 17th through today's date, have you been out to the residence again?
Yes, I did go back out to the apartment. I went on that Friday after the 17th, so it would have been the 20th of October. The reason I went back out to the apartment was to further discuss the situation and our plan. And I also went out to take Miss Brown an application for a housing voucher, because I was trying to assist her in finding somewhere else to live. So I took her out that paperwork so that we could get it submitted so she could find her somewhere else to stay.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you observe at the home when you went out on the 20th of October?
That is the day that I officially seen Mr. Terry. Because when I went to the home, Miss Brown was not there. He is the one that opened the door. I tried to have a conversation with him. He did not want to speak to me. He did take the paperwork out of my hand and close the door.
All right. And how do you know that was Terry?
I just assumed that was Terry.
You don't know what he looks like?
I've been told what he looks like, and this person had dreads, and he was brown skin, so I just assumed that was Terry.
You didn't ask him his name?
No, sir. But I had spoke to Ms. Brown, and I believe she told me he was there, or I actually texted her and told her I was leaving the papers with Terry, and she said, okay.
Okay.
And again, what information does the department have that prior to the department going back to supervised visits that Terry was having any contact with Christian?
The only evidence that I have is from Miss Brown, where she did tell me that he is living there and she's been living with him since she moved into that apartment. As far as him having contact with Christian, she did not state that he has been around Christian or been there during the visit. She just informed me that he does live there in the apartment with her.
What happened to the woman that was going to kick her out? Where did she go?
Apparently she lives somewhere else. She told me, now the day I went out there to that apartment, Miss Taylor reported that she lives in the apartment, but Miss Brown is stating to me that Jasmine does not live in the apartment. To be honest, Judge Bartles, I don't know who's telling the truth at this point. I really don't know. All I know is the lease is in Miss Jasmine Taylor's name, and she told me that she only allowed her baby father, who is Terry, to live in an apartment, that she never allowed Miss Brown to move into the apartment. But Miss Brown stated that Jasmine has her own home somewhere in Locust Grove, Georgia. But I asked Miss Jasmine for that address, and she continuously denies that she does not have another home, that she lives with her parents.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Scarani. Sorry, I interrupted.
Okay, not a problem. Now, after you discovered that Ms. Brown was potentially living in the apartment with with this Terry individual, when you confronted Ms. Brown about that, what did she tell you, if anything?
She was honest. She it was an emotional time because, of course, with Jasmine being there and me being there, Ms. Brown was upset, but she did admit that she had been living there. She did not physically speak to Jasmine, apparently, before she moved her stuff into the apartment, from what I recall. She only went by based off what Terry had told her, that it was okay for her to move there. So she was very upset at that time and, was apologizing and saying that, this is just crazy. But she just told me that he does live there and that she would just have to find her somewhere else to go at this point.
So did Ms. Brown ever admit to you that Terry was in fact living in that apartment with her?
She did.
When did she do that?
The same day I was there, on October 17th.
So on October 20th, then what did you tell Ms. Brown, if anything, that you wanted her or that the department was going to do about contact between her and Christian?
I told her that I would have to report everything that I had found out, that I would have to staff it, and that business would possibly have to revert back to supervised business until we figured out what she was going to do about her living situation. And on that day, she also stated that she felt that was going to have to happen due to her situation.
Did you then?
Wait just a second. What she said? What was going to happen because of her situation?
That her business was going to have to be reverted back to
okay.
supervised.
And her situation being she was having to live with Terry or something else?
That situation, because she knew that Terry had denied a screen to him.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's fine, Your Honor. And now, with regards to that, did the department at some point in time change the visits back for unsupervised between the mother and the child to supervised?
Yes, sir.
When did that start?
The first visit that he had supervised would technically have been just this past last week.
So are you saying from October 20th until last week, there were no visits between the Ms. Brown and the child?
There was one more visit so that Friday, I believe he had a visit on October 20th. I could be wrong. It was October 20th or 21st. And then that next week, I told her I had to find a transporter, which would have been the last week of October. And then the first week of November, I think the first week of November, and then the week after that, she had some probation stipulations, I believe, where she could not visit with Christian. And then that's when we were able to set up this last visit that she just had this past week during Thanksgiving.
What about the second week of November? What, if anything, was there preventing visits during that time?
I believe that was the week where I was still looking for a transporter because I could not confirm a transporter for the case until that week of November. That second week of
And
November.
then last week was the week of Thanksgiving. Did the mother have, there was apparently a visit that was worked out between the old transporter and the new transporter for Thanksgiving.
Yes, that situation, the old transporter was told that she was no longer needed on this case. I had found a new transporter, but there was some confusion. I'm not sure, I was not here to figure out what all was going on. I had talked to the new transporter, who is Miss Irene. She agreed to do the business on Tuesdays and Fridays. Somehow the old transporter had still reached out to the families and told them that she was going to visit on Thursday, which I never was told. I'm not sure, but there was confusion, but yes, that's what happened.
Well, do you know, I know you just came back from your leave or whatever, but do you know if that visit on Thanksgiving actually took place?
I do not.
Okay. And then going forward, what is the schedule, Tuesdays and Fridays?
Yes, because we will no longer be working with Miss Victoria.
Okay, and
This
those
is
would
the old
be Tuesdays and Fridays for how long on each visit?
2 to 3 hours for each visit.
And where do those take place? In the community?
Yes, we're fine with them being in the community at this time.
Okay. All right. Now, did you recently, or as of this morning, receive some correspondence from Ms. Taylor that basically gave a hard, fast deadline about when Ms. Brown needs to be out of the apartment?
Yes, sir. I just received it literally right when court was starting. She sent me a notarized letter.
And what did she say in that letter about when Ms. Brown had to be out of the apartment?
Okay, the letter states that she has notice of Christmas to be gone. It does not matter if she is placed or not. So she's stating that she's giving Ms. Brown until Christmas.
Okay, so basically 3 more weeks.
Yes.
What does that mean? That placed, that who's placed?
I believe what she's stating is if Ms. Brown does not have housing or place somewhere else by Christmas, she still has to get out of her apartment.
Does she think y'all are finding her a house or a place to live?
So the day that I went out there, I did tell both of them that we would assist Ms. Brown in finding housing. So I believe that's what she's speaking on, but I didn't say that we would technically actually place her because I can't say that. I would have to get approval before I even do that. What I did was, like I said, I took her application for a housing voucher. And I emailed a couple of people that I knew, that could assist her with housing. That's what I was doing.
And is the department then asking at this point that until Ms. Brown obtains housing that's strictly on her own, that the department can verify that that Terry is no longer residing with her, that her visitation remains supervised?
Yes, but I don't know if after speaking to Brandy Matias, the department is fine with her having unsupervised visits, but they will have to be in the community. They cannot be in the home. And she will be reliable for transportation, which means she will have to pick Christian up from the foster parents and make sure he is transported back in the time that her visits are scheduled.
Okay.
What happened to the transporter?
Usually, Miss Judge Bartles, when we do just the transportation piece, they don't do it unless it's some type of supervision involved. Now, I will say in the past with this case, Ms. Brown had a relationship with a transporter that would pick him up for her, I believe. I don't know if she still has that relationship with her, but we can check with her to see if she'll be able to assist with transportation.
What, does mom have her own vehicle and transportation?
She does not.
Well, we're going to be right back in the same boat. You're saying she can have unsupervised outside the house and she can't get to it.
Right.
She's responsible for transportation. That doesn't work for me. You're going to have to continue to provide transportation. Whether I guess the transporter is used to being also a supervisor of the visits.
Right.
So they're not needed for the whole thing. But all right.
The thing is, I don't mind checking. I'm just telling you, in the past we have had difficulty finding transporters to do that. They won't do it if they're just picking this child up and then coming back in a couple of hours. We were lucky to find that one lady that did it, But you know, out of the 6 years I've been here, there's not too many that's going to do it.
Well, then
unfortunately.
y'all can give her an Uber card or something, or Lyft or something where she can get to the place. And
So let me ask Ms. Brownlee a question, Your Honor, to clarify for me too. So if you're saying that there can be unsupervised visits in the community, is there not a way that the mom can go to a nearby park or something like that, have the transporter take the child to the park, the McDonald's, the Chick-fil-A, whatever it is, and then mom has her visits, and then the transporter picks the child up after the visit and brings the child back to the foster parent? Is that not possible?
Again, I will definitely try my best. I will reach out to the transporter that we used last time. She really had a good relationship with Ms. Brown. I'm willing to say I think she will do it. And also my plan is to be popping up pretty often. So on those days I plan to do it, I'll just go ahead and pick Christian up myself and then just drop him off, and then I'll just go back and get him. I'm fine with doing that.
Okay.
just be sure you go off the clock when you do that.
She cannot.
Ms. Long always has to throw a wrench into the works.
Well, I don't know. Why are we having this hearing?
Well, that was my inclination too. And I just, I wasn't aware of that, Your Honor. And Ms. Brownlee was out until I think she just came back to the office today. I didn't have staffing last week because of the holidays, so that's probably why.
Well, while we're here, can I ask a question?
No.
Thanks, Matthias. So I'm going to go ahead. I know that way back when we were here and we first started talking about visits and modifications, that Mr. Murray, we had made a request to modify his to unsupervised, and the court had requested some documentation, and then the court requested more documentation. So I'm just asking today, did the court receive the documentation to satisfy the requirements for my client's visits?
No, I did not get the stuff that I asked for.
Okay.
I got the one thing that you sent me, which was part of some documents with the state, but not the whole document. All it was one page that had special conditions, but I wanted to see the whole sentence. And I've sent you 4 things in an email on October 17th that's in the front of the file, but I don't have any response to that.
Yes, Your Honor.
You said you were forwarding it to Mr. Murray.
I did.
Okay.
I don't have the documents either. I just wanted to know if the court or the department had received them, and maybe we could address that.
If the department got them, by all means, they need to share them with me because I'm the one who asked for them.
No, I did not. I did speak to the provider. Now, in the email, it said that you guys wanted his completed, if I'm not mistaken, classes, right? So the issue is he just started the program with these people. So it's going to take him at least maybe 6 months before he's going to be completed with those courses. Do you know Judge Bartles?
All right. Well, I know that the FVIP takes, I think it depends on who you sign up with. Nobody's told me it takes 6 months. They've told me it takes several weeks, maybe as much as 15 weeks, which would be about 3.5 months, I guess, but not 6 months.
Right. Well, I spoke to his clinical director. He's going to Phoenix Behavioral Health Services. I reached back out to her too because she was stating that he's been doing good and was wondering,
Well, that would be a benefit, but I wanted to see all of the stuff from Clayton County. I didn't have anything that showed me what he was convicted of. I didn't have anything. I assume it was domestic violence, or he wouldn't have been sentenced to go to the FVIP.
Right.
But,
okay, so if he's able to provide you the whole full sentence, would you still consider him doing unsupervised, or you still want him to complete the classes?
Well, if you'll get me a letter from that provider saying how long he's been in and that he's doing well, I would consider that.
Okay, perfect.
I just wanted to know that he was even in. I'm glad to know that he's in them, but I just felt like I was in the dark about, and I'm not saying anybody's hiding anything from me. I just didn't have the whole picture about why he was under that sentence and what it was for and what else was in that sentence besides that. If there's a provision in there that says he can't have any contact, I need to know that. I mean, I don't know that
Okay. I'll reach back out to the provider. I'll reach back out to the provider today and I'll have her send it over.
But the other question I had, just thinking that out loud right then, is was there a civil claim filed? I'm assuming that the family violence involved Ms. Brown, or am I incorrect about that?
That's great.
Okay. Well, was there a civil action where Ms. Brown sought a 12-month protective order against Mr. Murray? Does anybody, Ms.
No, sir. No, sir. I think
Okay.
that an order, as far as I knew, that Ms. Brown, that he was not to have contact with Ms. Brown. It was condition of his bond as well as condition of his probation that he's currently under.
That's what I wanted to see, because I did not get all of his conditions. I just got part of it. And I wanted to make sure that he's not prohibited from having contact with the child or the mother, or either one or both or whatever. So I could.
And we never got a copy of his conditions of bond to know whether or not, in fact, that were the case.
Well, the conditions of bond would be superseded by his sentence.
I understand that, Judge, but I think that, that was a question because that was a question for, even for the legitimation and things like that did occur. But,
So, Mr. Murray, if you'll get those things and get them to Ms. Brownlee, and then she can send them on to me and your lawyer and Ms. Brown's lawyer. Okay?
Yeah, I would suggest you give that to
I
Ms.
sent the
Crane
whole
so that-
document. I sent the whole document to Ms. Crane and Ms. Brownlee, and
You didn't send it.
Yeah, I did.
If Ms. Crane sent me the
I
whole
went down.
document, it wasn't the whole document because it was.
Well,
just
I went. Hold on. Let me recollect for a second. The same day we went to court, I went straight to the courthouse, and within hours, I screenshotted and emailed the documents. Then I went down to Henry County Defects and had her make a copy, and I let her keep the. I can't remember the lady's name that works there. There was a white lady, and I gave her the original document, and I kept the copy.
So,
Okay.
Mr.
the
Murray,
whole,
Mr. Murray, I received that document, and so did DFAX, and we forwarded it to the court. The court came back with a list of other documents that I immediately forwarded to you because they weren't satisfied with that document that you provided. And those are the documents that I'm asking about today because I haven't seen them. There were more that were requested.
So Isaiah, what she's saying is that's what me and Judge Bartles was just discussing. He wanted you to provide the completed classes, but what he's saying now is we can get a letter from the lady that I spoke to the other day stating that you're enrolled and you're doing well, and he will reconsider. So I think
I still want to see that. I want that, like you say, but I want the complete sentence, which has got to be more than one page long. And the document that was sent, which I appreciate you getting that, was a part of the sentence as an addendum. It wasn't the whole sentence. The original sentence should tell what you convict or pled guilty or were convicted of. It should tell how long you're on supervision and any other conditions. So that's what I need.
I have the list here, Your Honor, on Mr. Murray. I sent it on Tuesday, October 17th at 9:59 a.m. It's a copy of the full bill of indictment that you pled and were sentenced to. Complete sentence entered in the Clayton County Superior Court with all addendums, certificate of enrollment in FVIP, and certificate of completion of FVIP, which is what the department is saying you're doing right now. But those were the 4 items that I emailed.
What else do I need to hear about the?
I just need to. Your Honor, I need to ask Ms. Long a couple of questions because, like I said, I'm just finding out about this from the department as far as unsupervised. So, Ms. Long, if you'll unmute your microphone.
Yeah.
Can I redirect?
You can.
You may not want to after Brandy talks, but let me leave that and then I don't know.
Okay, I can wait and I'll ask for both questions at the same time.
We're out of time, so just letting you know.
All right. So, Ms. Long, I don't know. Did you swear her, Your Honor? I can't remember.
I swore in Ms. Long. I have not sworn in the mother because she came late. But Ms. Long is under oath.
All right. So, Ms. Long, just go ahead and state your name for the record.
Brandy Willis Long.
Ms. Long, are you currently the supervisor for Ms. Brownlee at the Department of Family and Children Services?
Yes.
All right. And you had noticed me that you had some clarification about what, if anything, the department could do as far as the change back to unsupervised visits. Did you want to clarify?
Yes, I did want to clarify something. So I think, well, what Ms. Brownlee was trying to explain, as far as our contracted providers, as far as them transporting, some of them may be willing to do it, and we will definitely reach out. However, in my experience in being here in my almost 10 years, without that supervision piece, they just do not feel that it's worth it to provide the transportation. And the transportation would be specifically for the child. So mom would still have to find her own way to whatever meeting place they decide on. As well as, excuse me, as well as providing that information to Miss Jasmine beforehand and not at the last minute. So she's knowing where those visitations are taking place. Again, for her to be able to do unannounced visits to make sure that everything is on the up and up.
So let me clarify too then, is Ms. Brownlee had indicated if she was not able to find a transporter initially that she could potentially transport the child to the visits with the mom and then pick the child up and return back to the lotteries. Is that a potential option?
That is an option, but she's not going to be able to commit to that every week as she has other obligations. And then also, if there are going to be visits that are taking place after hours, or if mom requests for visits that are taking place after hours or on the weekend, she's not going to be able to accommodate that.
So then is the department at this point, again, willing to allow there to be unsupervised visits in the community between Ms. Brown and Christian at this time?
Yes, we're willing to do that, but not inside of the home. We are not.
Okay. All right, taking that aside then. And then it will just, the department will try to work out some kind of schedule, either involving a transporter, Ms. Brownlee transporting the child, or some combination of those things to make that work. Is that my understanding?
Yes, within our scope, again, because we cannot accommodate on the weekend.
Okay. Well, right now they're scheduled for Tuesdays and Fridays with the transporter. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that's the supervised visitation.
Right.
If we tell her we no longer need her to supervise, she may very well say that she can no longer keep the case. You know.
Well, you could pay her for the 2 hours she'd be supervising to sit in the car and wait for them to finish, and so she can bring them back.
No, sir, we cannot. She has to literally be sitting and supervising the visit. If she's not literally watching them, we cannot pay her.
Well, she's watching them just from afar.
That doesn't work like
that. Gonna work, Donor.
Can I say something?
Not right now.
And I just wanted to clarify then too that what you were saying, that one of the barriers to finding a transporter would be the fact that if they're just transporting and not supervising, they're not going to make enough money to make it worthwhile. Is that basically what I understood you to say?
That's pretty much the response that we get from the provider. Yes.
Well, I don't know. That's all I had, Your Honor. Ms. Battle wants to ask any questions.
Yes, she does. She's busting at the seams.
Yes, I wanted to ask
questions, right?
No. Matthias took my time, so I'm not claiming it back. Miss Brownlee, what was did she ever have the unsupervised day visits between 10 and 6 p.m. That were part of the prior court order?
Yes, ma'am.
And then, and was that while she was living at her current address?
Yes, she had, I believe, maybe 1 or 2 at the current address, and then the rest would have been at her old address.
Okay. And did the transporter ever report that Mr. Cherry was present, or that she seen him or anything at any of these visits?
No, but during that time, most of the time, either Tatiana was picking him up, or she had her auntie, I believe, sometimes pick him up. I'm not sure, but no transporter has reported to me that they seen him there.
Okay. And did you, when you walked through the house, did you, I know she indicated that he was there caring for their child. And the only time you would have said that you've seen him was the time that you came to drop off the paperwork, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, wasn't the court order actually said that she was to ensure that he didn't have any contact with the child during the visitation, not that she could not live with him?
Correct.
Okay. And so that if there's no indication that he had any contact with the child, even though he was living there, why would we change the visitation to still be one that she has to visit? Now you're saying in the community versus having to be able to have the child brought to the home.
Because again, we cannot guarantee, unless I come to every visit, to guarantee that man is not inside the home. If he lives there, where else would he be? I mean, my thing is,
But she's never told you. Have you asked her if he's been there?
I have not, but again, I cannot attest that when I am not there or transport is not there, we cannot attest that this man will be there around Shakrishan. So again, as the department has stated, we just do not feel that he will be safe in that home, knowing that this man lives there. Now, Brandy, if you would like to ask, you can go ahead and
ask. The other question that I have, Ms. Brownlee, I think that we had this issue before with some people who were friends of hers that lived near the apartment, that they were coming to visits and things like that. And she, at that time, told you that that was true, correct?
Correct.
And then when she was asked and directed by the court that she not have those people present, as far as you know, she has not had those people present, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Thank you. That's all I have from this.
All right. Anything else?
Just real quickly, Your Honor, Ms. Long, did you, while we were having this hearing, did you see a gentleman appear on the video with Ms. Brown?
Yes, sir.
And do you know who that individual is?
I don't know for certain, but I'm going to assume that is Mr. Perry, the child's father.
I would have checked. I mean, he's, first of all.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Judge, I think that you were looking down. I don't know if you saw the camera just then when Miss Brown turned the camera around because they were inferring that Mr. Terry was in the home right now, and it isn't.
A woman.
Thank you.
I wasn't looking. I could be wrong about that. I think that was a female. Somebody, while I was not looking at the screen, said, "Can I say something?" I said, "Not now." So I don't know who that was.
Ms. Brown, Your Honor. And I would object to her just volunteering information. If Ms. Battle wants to, put her client up, that's fine. But
just raise your hand to take an oath, Ms. Brown. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony and evidence you give in the matter pending will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Do you?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I was just going to say about the unsupervised visits, I can support with picking him up and bringing him back. I work and get paid every week on Friday. So that even if I have to Uber, it wouldn't be a problem. And my aunt did say if I continue to have the unsupervised visits, she does not mind helping me transport him back.
Well, good. Because that was a problem, a potential problem. What do you have in mind for since when you go pick the child up, you're not going to take him back to where you live. So where would you take him? Because it's getting pretty soon it's going to get cold.
I mean, it's a lot of stuff around here as far as I stay right across the street from a pinstripe. I know for his birthday, I wanted to.
Bowling alley?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Oh, you live in Clayton County now, right?
Kind of, sort of, in a way.
Yeah, I just want to caution the court and Ms. Brown again about, disclosing too much information.
I know. That's why I just said she lived in.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's several things that I can take him around here and do activities besides bringing him in the home. So I just wanted to voice my opinion.
And Judge,
What's he
Just
gonna
feel
do
like
at
I,
bowling alley? Unless I've got a typo. What's his birthday?
His birthday will be on the 8th, which I was going to take him to Chuck E. Cheese.
But
He's
what
in
year was he born?
2020.
Yeah, so it means he'll be 3,
hmm
right? What does a 3-year-old do at a bowling alley?
Well, I've took him to a bowling alley before. I've
But
took
he
him.
watches you bowl, right? I mean,
No, it's not the bowling alley right here. It's got laser tag. It's got
oh,
little
okay.
game
So
machines and
is
stuff.
it kind of like a Buster, Dave and Buster's, but smaller?
Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
All right. Well, I just was curious. I'm not, man, I'm not going to say how old I am, but I can't bowl now. So I don't know. Maybe a 3-year-old can bowl as well as I can bowl.
Yeah.
Ms. Evans Battle, did you have something else you wanted to say? I
yes,
thought,
I really do not think that this is a case where the supervision needs to be changed from the home. I mean, she has done everything the court has asked, and the order from the court was that she not allow the boyfriend to have contact. And no one has shown that that this child has ever had contact with Christian. And this has been going on with this man. She does everything that the court has asked her. And I just think it's unreasonable for them to make assumptions of what might happen when there's been no showing, at least in the last year, that she has ever done anything other than what the court is asking her of in relationship to her visitation with her child. Every time it appears she moves forward to unsupervised visitation, then we have an issue with who she associate or who she may associate with, who may be around the child. The whole purpose of the visitation is to have meaningful interaction with the child. And I just don't think that happens in the community with a 3-year-old, particularly who's playing, nor does she, she's not even asked to have, that she be able to have visitation with family members and things like that, other than I know her aunt, who she has a good relationship with, who the department knows of, who's been on her safety plan with the younger child and all of that. So, even Miss Jasmine Taylor was on her safety plan with the younger child. But in any event, I don't think that she has violated the court order. And that's really what we're here for, is to determine whether or not there's been a violation so significant that it would need to change her visitation. And I just don't see that that's happened. Ms. Brownlee has admitted that there's been nothing. No, she's not, even Ms. Taylor has not told her that there's been contact. So, and that was the reporter. So I just think that it's unreasonable at this time for her to not have the unsupervised visit with the child. We're trying to move the child back home. That is the purpose. And we keep moving back and forward. And I just think that it's not reasonable in her particular case. And I would ask that the visitation to continue to be unsupervised as it is. And particularly, as Mr. Skowronek has indicated, Ms. Brownlee has indicated, the weather is changing. You can't always go out and treat a child at some of these gaming systems and things like that. She's trying to get into a more permanent home situation, and for her to continue to expend money for Uber and things like that in order to have a community visitation is not helping her circumstances. Thank you.
Your Honor, I can just briefly respond to that.
your time is up. We're 8 minutes past deadline.
I understand. So, again, what Ms. Battle is stating is ignoring the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is that Ms. Brown was not truthful to Ms. Brownlee about her living arrangements. And then, knowing full well that she was under an order that Mr. Terry was not to have any contact with the child, and the thrust and focus for the court should be to ensure the safety and well-being of the child. And that's what the department's focus is on, Your Honor. And we cannot ensure the safety and well-being of the child or a mother who resides in a home with an individual that will not cooperate with the department and has refused to cooperate with the department for a substantial period of time. So I think what
the lack of cooperation was not submitting to drug screens, right?
And undergoing a background check, correct?
Oh,
yes.
Okay. All right.
I believe those were the two things, correct, Ms. Brownlee?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So I think what the department has proposed about allowing unsupervised visits to continue out in the community to ensure that, we can protect this child as best as possible for this individual who, for whatever reason, doesn't want to cooperate with the department. That's his right. And, that's whatever. But if Ms. Brown continues to have a relationship with him, I'm sorry, but that's what we have to do to ensure the safety and well-being of this child.
So you do share housekeeping with whoever Terry's last name, Ms. Brown, you do live with him?
He's back and forth because of my daughter.
Okay, well, what is the deal about your daughter?
Like, due to the fact that I work from 5 to 3 in the morning, like sometimes he will just end up spending the night. He has his own situation going on as far as probation and, other things of his personal business or whatever. So as far as not doing what y'all are asking, I can't control that. So my main goal is to move, get my own situation taken care of and worry about getting my kids straight for my own good.
Well, the lady that forgot her name, was it Taylor?
Jasmine Taylor.
Okay. There was testimony that she's giving you 3 weeks to get out.
I spoke to her last night. As far as what she said to Ms. Brownlee this morning, I was unaware of that, but she just advised me last night that she was not going to be renewing the lease in, I think she said May. So she told me she wished me the best of luck through my situation, but she will not be renewing this lease. So.
But you've got until May to find a place.
I will have my place before then.
Well, is your place going to be Terry's place or just your place?
No, it's just going to be mine.
Well, then why is Terry there now?
I mean, I work. I need help with,
So he helps sit with how old is the child that he sits with when you're
5 months. She's 5 months.
Okay, and he's the dad of that child?
Yes, sir.
Are there any protective service issues with that child in the home?
No.
Well, really, I'm sorry. I was really asking defects. Ms. Brownlee?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Well, where is Terry when Christian comes over for his visits with you?
Sometimes he goes to his aunt's house.
Well, when he goes to his aunt's house, do you go over there too?
No. I'm familiar with his family, but I don't really too much deal with none of them. Only for the simple fact is because of his other baby mama, and he has.
Wait! I don't even know when Christian comes for you want me to leave your unsupervised visits. Don't you visit with him during them? Or you said he went to his family, another family member.
Yeah, he won't be here. So as far as he go, I'm just giving out, scenarios. He will go with his, his aunt. He will go to friends, cousin.
Terry?
Yes, he's from He's from McDonough, so he knows a lot of people out there. He doesn't be around here.
All right, so he's not around when Christian has come to your house?
No, sir.
And I haven't heard anybody say they've seen them there at the same time. Did I miss something?
Your Honor, I think Ms. Brownlee testified that she only saw him when she went to the door and he answered the door that one time, but no, the department does not have any firsthand knowledge from the case manager about Mr. Terry being there present when Christian is visiting.
Have you ever denied to defects that he was living there? They made it sound like you've not been totally honest with him about that. You told me he comes and goes. I don't.
That was it.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, the testimony from Ms. Brownlee is that she initially did the walkthrough of the home with Ms. Brown, and then subsequent to that was notified by the actual lessor of the home, Ms. Taylor, that Ms. Brown was not authorized to live in that home, and that that Terry was the individual residing in that home.
Is he the one who has the lease, Ms.
No,
Brown?
sir.
Your
No,
name is on
the
the lease.
the lease is in Jasmine Taylor's name. She said that she only allowed Mr. Terry to live in the home and that she gave him a key to the apartment to live there. And when I came out on the 17th, after Miss Jasmine told me that Tatiana was supposed to be living there, that's when Tatiana was honest and told me that he was living there and she's been living with him.
All right. Court's going to leave the visits unsupervised as they were, with the change that they will be during the week. And you work that in your work schedule, Ms. Brown?
Yes, sir.
All right. And when they're during the week, I want them during office hours so defects can drop in. Terry cannot be in the house when the visits take place in your house. If you visit in the community, he cannot be at the visit. Okay?
Yes, sir.
They
Yes,
have
sir.
a right to know where those out of the house visits are so they can drop in. If they catch him at any of the visits, then we're going to change it because it
Yes,
means
sir.
you haven't been honest. Okay. And he does have a right to not participate, but you're telling me he's got problems with probation and all this stuff, which gives me more concern other than we just want to know it may be stuff that doesn't have anything to do with how he would be treating a child, but I don't know that. And I would like a drug screen. But anyway, so you understand what you got to do?
Yes, sir.
The visits are during the week. The visits are unsupervised. When you do them in the community, you got to give advance notice to Ms. Brownlee. When you are at the home, you got to let her know that's where it's going to be. Terry cannot be at any location for any visit.
Yes, sir.
Defects can drop in and you can't refuse them admittance during the visit so they can check on things. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. You can take an order. Thank y'all for your time. Oh, did you foster parents? Did you have anything to share with me? Sorry you sat through all that.
No, sir. You all have a happy holiday.
Thanks. Y'all too. A periodic judicial review of child in foster care whose case plan is another planned permanent living arrangement, APLA. Henry Defax is here with their attorney, Mr. Skowronek, the case manager, Ms. Lampkin, and supervisor, Ms. Long, and administrator, Ms. Ishmael, is monitoring or observing only. The child is here. Ms. Johnson, are you with her placement?
I am, yes.
And what is the placement? Christian City still?
No, she's in my home in Locust Grove.
Okay, good. I just looked down at the first note I saw in my file said Christian City, but I jumped the gun. And let's see, there's Mr. Hobson, I think is with the law firm that sends a different lawyer each time we come.
I was here last time, Judge.
Were you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry I don't remember you, but I have the name Leah Zammit in my file after
Yes.
John Sumner. And glad to have you back. And I think I introduced Ms. Funky, the mom is here. Well, let me start out. Miss Mataji, tomorrow looks like it may be a big day.
Yeah.
Man, it just doesn't seem possible that you could reach age 18 so quickly. You're not ready to be an adult, are you?
No.
Good, because you're not. Nobody is. Nobody I've ever met is ready at 18. Well, congratulations. I hope you have a great birthday.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Skowronek, give me your summary of what's transpired in her case.
Yeah, that's correct. This is the last permanency review that we'll be having for Mitaji. She has got her 18th birthday is tomorrow. She is currently reported to the department that it is her intention to remain in custody of the Department of Family and Children's Services. She's been in the home of Ms. Johnson since April of this year. She's doing very well in that placement. She currently attends Foothill Charter School in person on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and is currently on track to graduate in May of next year. She is being provided ILP services, including budget, finance management, health education, health prevention, career preparation, and employment programs. She attends her ILP seminars online. The plan for Mataji currently is for her to, again, remain in care after turning 18, attend a transitional living program after she graduates, and then begin work and hopefully attend college. She is receiving her prescribed medications. Let's see what else. Since we were last in court, she had dental in September of 2023 on September 6th. The next one is her next dental visit is scheduled for March of next year. She's also receiving individual therapy services with Ms. Weaver from Pathways to Hope. Previously, when we were last in court, Your Honor, the child had expressed that she was in fact interested in potentially pursuing visitation with Ms. Winfunky. However, she has again changed her mind and currently reports that she does not wish to visit with Ms. Winfunky. So that is the extent of the report. We would ask for the court to make its requisite findings that the department has continued to make reasonable efforts to avoid removal, has provided all necessary services. Obviously, given that the child is going to turn 18 tomorrow, Your Honor, the department is not in the file termination of criminal rights. I think that's pretty much it.
Ms. Lampkin, is that information relayed by your lawyer true and correct?
Yes, sir.
Anything you want to add?
No, sir. I just want to say that I am extremely proud of Mataji with her growth and involvement. And a special thank you to Ms. Johnson for being a resource for her and really helping her and assisting her with school, with personal things. Ms. Johnson has really made a tremendous difference in Mataji's life. And so I would like to thank her for that and also tell Mataji.
I'm sorry? I didn't understand the last thing you said. I don't, kind of garbled.
Nothing. I was just saying thank you to Miss Johnson for being a resource for Mataji, and just congratulating Mataji so far on her growth, and the changes and stuff that she has made thus far.
All right, thank you. Mataji, are you getting to see your brother on a regular basis?
Yes, sir.
Good. Is he doing okay?
Yes, he's doing better.
Good. Is the plan for you to stay at Miss Johnson's house until you can go to a little later, go to a independent living residence?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you worked out the rent rate with Miss Johnson now that you're going to be an adult?
No, there's no rent, but I told her if she keeps sleeping with that TV on, she's going to start paying the electric bill.
Well, you know, unbeknownst to me, the later TVs, and I didn't know it till my kids showed me, but the TVs have settings where you can have them cut themselves off automatically. I didn't know that. But it might be worth it. Of course, you can't find the manuals. They can disappear the first day they walk in the door. So I couldn't figure it out on my own. All I can do is change channels. That's about it.
Right.
Well, I'm glad things are going well for you. Let me ask you this. Have you got, my notes here tell me you have a learner's permit and you think you're going tomorrow to get your driver's license.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Please be careful driving vehicles.
I will.
When I was your age, or a little younger probably, I used to put up big billboards that said speed kills. That was a big theme, and it's still true, just even more so because there are a lot more cars on the road than when I was your age. So please be careful. Never be in a hurry to get somewhere because you almost never get there because you're in a hurry. You get pulled over for speeding. Something happens. Just take your time and pay attention to what other people are doing around you because there are a lot of crazies out there driving cars, and they'll run over you before you know what hit you.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a copy of your birth certificate?
Yes, I do.
And do you have you've got the learner's permit, so you've got a government issued picture ID. Do you
Yes,
have
sir.
your social security card?
Yes, I do.
Good, good. Those are more important if you were getting ready to embark out on your own at 18 and saying you didn't need any help. We'd want to make sure you had those, but I still try to make sure that people have those things because you may need them even if you're still living with Ms. Johnson when you're 50. You may still need them. Ms. Johnson's hoping it won't be that long. All right. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Lampkin?
No, sir. No.
Mr. Hobson, anything?
The only question I would have is, as far as, is there going to be an updated order on this? Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, I have to every time we come for review, I have to enter an order that the case plan, the current case plan for APLA permanency is being followed and that she's aging out tomorrow and she's chosen to stay in care, which I don't know that I think some judges do not review them after they turn 18, but I still review them every 6 months to check on them. More of an informal, but we do have a little hearing on Zoom.
I just didn't know if there was anything I could get from the department about the non-substantiation of claims that were, I know that the order has already been entered of substantiation, but based on statements that have been made, updated, if we could get something in the file saying that the substantiation of the claims, that they're no longer substantiated.
I don't I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. You're saying that I said that we would do an order saying.
Oh,
that-
no. I'm not saying, no, I'm not saying you said that at all. I'm saying that if there's anything from the department that we can get, because Ms. Winfunky is unable to get employment in certain sectors based on this case and the claims that were made initially. And, we just wanted to see, my understanding that it's understood that the claims that were initially made were not so much substantiated any longer based on updated statements. And we didn't know if we could get anything from the department that could be on her file that way so that she could show future employers and stuff like that. She's in the childcare industry and stuff like that, so that wouldn't be on her file.
I don't have any problem at all with you communicating directly with their counsel about that. I'm sorry, but I don't recall anybody recanting to the extent in a hearing where I was told that the evidence changed, that the original information was no longer true. I can't sit here and swear you told me that or didn't tell me that. I don't recall it. And, but I hear a lot of cases, and I'm an old man and I don't remember everything. But if that communication was made and you've got something worked out with the department, I don't have any objection at all with you pursuing it. But as far as something coming from the court.
Yeah, correct.
But
no, I understand that. Is there any way I can get the direct communication email?
Sure. You can communicate with Mr. Skowronek.
No problem.
I'll email you directly.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir. I just need the permanent, the post-majority review date, please.
Okay. June 25th at 2:00. Nataji, do you want to do it on Zoom or do you want to come see us live and in person in the courthouse?
In person.
Really?
Yes.
I'm honored. Nobody ever wants to come see me in person anymore. They all want to be on Zoom.
I want to come in person.
Okay, you can do it.
Okay.
Ms. Johnson, are you okay with that? Don't be so excited.
I guess so.
Well, it's 6 months out. So if you have a change of heart or if you bribe her into changing her mind, just let us know and we'll switch it to, as long as we have enough notice, we'll switch it to Zoom.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Keep
right.
in mind, Mataji, that right now you're thinking about life as a senior in high school, and Ms. Johnson's got obligations that for a lot of people, they have found how much more convenient it is to sit at home and be on Zoom. But I will defer to whatever y'all work out, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm going to be here regardless. All right. You can take the reasonable efforts and all the findings that I make every 6 months still apply. So you can send me a proposed order. And that, seriously though, Nataji, we wish you the best. And we've had some good, really great successes. Not anything I've done, but successes with primarily the kids do it, the young adults. When they turn 18 and they stay in care and they're in college classes, they're in extracurricular activities, they're making friends, they're slowly learning to be adults and making adult decisions. And it's a great opportunity to do that while you still have some sense of security that there's a roof over your head and you're not out there having to make sure that that happens. All you got to do is follow the rules in the program, and they're pretty, in the scheme of things, they're pretty minimal. Okay?
Yes, sir.
The best wishes, and I look forward to seeing you on June the 25th at 2:00. And we got it set for live, but we can also always make that change, okay?
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing further, we'll be adjourned, and y'all take care.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Judge.